Let me ask you a simple question. How did you start your morning today? Did you wake up with energy, clarity, and purpose? Or did you drag yourself out of bed, hit snooze 3 times, check your phone, and start the day already behind? The truth is, the first few hours of your morning are not just hours, they are the foundation of your entire life. The way you start your morning will decide how you spend your day, and how you spend your days will decide the story of your life. The first hour of your morning is far more powerful than most people realize. It is not just a piece of your day. It is the foundation upon which the rest of your day is built. Imagine a builder constructing a skyscraper. If the foundation is weak, no matter how strong the upper levels are, the building will eventually collapse. Your morning works the same way. That first hour after waking is your foundation. The energy, focus, and choices you make during that time ripple out into everything else you do, shaping how productive, disciplined, and fulfilled you will feel as the hours unfold. When you first wake up, your mind is in its purest state. It has not yet been clouded by stress, distractions, or the noise of the outside world. This is the window where your brain is most receptive, where your thoughts are more powerful, and where you can either empower yourself or weaken yourself without even realizing it. Too many people waste this precious moment by doing the easiest and most destructive thing: reaching for their phone, scrolling through messages, checking social media, or watching the news. The result, they hand over control of their mind to the world before they even take their first conscious breath. Their morning becomes reactive instead of intentional, and the rest of their day follows the same pattern. But when you take charge of that first hour, everything changes. Instead of reacting, you begin creating. Instead of allowing negativity or distraction to enter your mind, you feed it with clarity, gratitude, and focus. For example, starting your day with prayer or reflection connects you to something bigger than yourself. It centers your heart. Beginning with movement, whether it is stretching, a walk, or exercise, ignites your body's energy and sends a powerful signal to your brain that you are awake, alive, and ready to take on the day. Choosing to plan your priorities for the day in that first hour gives you direction and purpose, so that you act with intention instead of stumbling through hours without clarity. Science confirms this truth. Psychologists have studied what they call decision fatigue, the idea that the more decisions you make throughout the day, the weaker your ability to make good ones becomes. That means your first few decisions in the morning are some of the most important of your life. Do you wake up when your alarm rings or hit snooze? Do you drink water or grab sugar? Do you feed your mind with learning or waste it on meaningless scrolling? Every one of those decisions creates momentum. Good choices lead to better ones. Weak choices lead to weaker ones. By controlling the first hour, you build a chain reaction of discipline that strengthens your entire day. Think about some of the most successful people in history. They all had morning routines, not because routines are trendy, but because they understood the power of that first hour. Some began with reading, some with writing, some with physical training, and others with meditation or prayer. The specific activity varied, but the principle was the same: control the beginning, and you control the rest. A pilot knows that even a small change in direction at takeoff can lead to landing in a completely different country. Your first hour is your takeoff. A small shift in how you use it can lead to an entirely different destination in life. There is also a psychological element to mastering the morning. When you win the first hour, you send a message to yourself that you are in control. That feeling of control boosts confidence, motivation, and resilience. On the other hand, when you lose the morning by oversleeping, procrastinating, or starting with distractions, you carry guilt and frustration with you, which drains your energy for the rest of the day. That is why so many people feel like they are chasing their day instead of leading it. The truth is, they lost the day before it even started, because they lost the first hour. It's important to recognize that the first hour is not about perfection. It's about intention. You don't need a complicated or fancy routine. Even small, consistent habits can transform your mornings. Waking up at the same time each day, drinking water, taking a few minutes to breathe or reflect, and setting 3 clear goals for the day. These simple actions can make you sharper, calmer, and more productive. Over time, they become second nature, shaping your identity as someone who takes control of life instead of waiting for life to control them. Most people underestimate how quickly small habits compound. If you waste your mornings every day, the cost is not just lost hours, it's lost potential. Days become weeks, weeks become months, and before long, years have passed without real progress. But if you dedicate even the first hour of each morning to growth, learning, or focus, imagine what that compounds into. Reading for just 20 minutes each morning could mean finishing dozens of books in a year. Exercising daily could completely transform your health. Reflecting on your goals each morning could sharpen your vision for the future. 1 hour is not much, but it is everything if you choose to use it wisely. So when you wake up tomorrow, remember this: you are standing at the edge of the most important hour of your life. You have a choice. Will you waste it on autopilot, or will you own it with intention? Because once you understand the power of the first hour, you will realize that your morning is not just the start of your day, it is the start of your destiny, and how you spend it will decide the story of your life. Discipline over comfort is one of the hardest lessons to accept, yet one of the most liberating truths that can transform your life. Every morning, we face a choice to remain in the warmth of our comfort zone or to step into the discomfort that leads to growth. For most people, the temptation of comfort wins. The soft bed convinces them to hit the snooze button. The easy option persuades them to scroll through their phone instead of working on their goals. The false security of routine tells them it's fine to stay the same instead of striving to become more. But comfort is deceptive. It feels good in the moment but steals from your future. Discipline, on the other hand, feels hard in the moment but gifts you strength, clarity, and success in the long run. The battle between comfort and discipline is fought silently every morning, and whichever side you choose determines the quality of your life. Think about it: comfort has never created greatness. No one ever built an empire, became healthy, or achieved mastery by choosing what was easy. Every remarkable achievement in history has been fueled by discipline. The athlete who trains before sunrise, the student who studies when others are partying, the entrepreneur who works while others are sleeping. These are examples of people who place discipline above comfort. They do not wait for motivation to arrive. They act regardless of how they feel. Discipline does not ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" Discipline commands, "Do it anyway." This mindset creates resilience and builds momentum, which is far more powerful than fleeting comfort. In the mornings, discipline plays its most crucial role. The first test comes when the alarm rings. That is not just a sound, it is a challenge. Will you conquer yourself or surrender? If you choose comfort and hit snooze, you start your day with defeat. If you choose discipline and rise, you start your day with victory. This small win is not about waking up earlier than others. It's about proving to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. Each time you do it, your identity changes. You no longer see yourself as someone who avoids effort. You see yourself as someone who embraces growth. Over time, this shift in identity becomes unshakable, and your entire life begins to reflect it. Discipline also sharpens your focus. Comfort leads you to drift, to let the hours pass without direction. You might spend a whole morning doing things that feel good but contribute nothing to your goals. Discipline, however, forces you to ask what matters most today, and then to act on it. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it requires sacrifice, you push forward. And here's the beautiful truth: what once felt uncomfortable eventually becomes natural. Waking up early becomes normal. Exercising becomes enjoyable. Reading instead of scrolling becomes satisfying. That's the hidden power of discipline. What begins as resistance becomes routine, and what once felt impossible becomes effortless. But to embrace discipline over comfort, you must change the way you view struggle. Most people think struggle is a sign to stop, but in reality, struggle is proof that you're growing. A muscle only grows when it is challenged by resistance. Likewise, your character, your strength, and your abilities only grow when you face resistance. Comfort offers no resistance and therefore no growth. Discipline welcomes resistance and therefore guarantees growth. So the next time you feel that inner battle, the urge to stay comfortable versus the call to rise with discipline, remember that the discomfort is not your enemy, it is your teacher. Discipline also requires vision. You cannot consistently choose discipline if you don't have a clear picture of what you're working toward. Comfort pulls you into short-term pleasure, but vision pulls you into long-term purpose. For example, someone who values their health will choose the discipline of exercise over the comfort of laziness. Someone who values financial freedom will choose the discipline of saving and investing over the comfort of spending. Someone who values wisdom will choose the discipline of reading and learning over the comfort of mindless entertainment. The stronger your vision, the easier it becomes to embrace discipline, because you know exactly what comfort will cost you. Every time you sacrifice discipline for comfort, you are essentially trading your future for a moment of ease. Every time you sacrifice comfort for discipline, you are investing in your future self. The question is, who do you want to become? The person who gave into ease, or the person who rose above it? Imagine your life in 5 or 10 years. If you always choose comfort, you will likely be in the same place you are today, perhaps even worse, because time will erode your potential. But imagine your life if you choose discipline. Your skills will grow, your confidence will deepen, your opportunities will multiply, and your life will elevate. That is the power of choosing discipline over comfort. In the end, comfort feels good today, but regrets haunt you tomorrow. Discipline feels hard today, but pride rewards you tomorrow. The difference is not small. It is life-changing. Every great destiny is shaped by moments of discipline, often invisible to the world, but always visible in the results that follow. Each morning gives you a chance to write your story. The question is simply, will you choose to remain where you are, or will you choose the discomfort that leads to growth? Remember, comfort is a thief that steals silently, while discipline is a builder that constructs steadily. Choose wisely, because your life will reflect the choice you make every single day. Every morning, your mind is like fresh soil. Whatever seeds you plant in it first thing in the day will grow and influence your thoughts, emotions, and actions for the rest of the hours ahead. This is why mornings are so critical, not just for your physical body, but especially for your mental state. Most people, unfortunately, let the world plant those first seeds. They wake up and instantly reach for their phones. Within seconds, their brains are flooded with notifications, messages, news headlines, and distractions. Before they have even had a chance to breathe deeply, they are already reacting to the noise of the world. Their peace is stolen, their focus is scattered, and their energy is drained. This is why many people start the day feeling overwhelmed or anxious, because they never took control of what entered their mind before the world did. Feeding your mind before the world does means making a conscious decision to fill your thoughts with strength, clarity, and positivity before outside voices interfere. Imagine how different your day would look if instead of waking up to social media, you woke up to stillness, prayer, reflection, or inspiring words. The first thing you focus on in the morning sets the tone. If it is chaos, your day feels chaotic. If it is wisdom, your day feels guided. If it is gratitude, your day feels abundant. The morning then becomes an opportunity to shape your inner world so that you can navigate the outer world with calmness and power. When you choose to feed your mind with the right inputs, you are building mental resilience. The challenges and stresses of the day will still come, but you will face them from a stronger place. It's like putting on armor before stepping onto the battlefield. The warrior who prepares first thing in the morning is always more effective than the one who charges in unprepared. If you wake up and let the world bombard you before you have fortified yourself, you are unprotected. But if you wake up and spend time strengthening your inner self, no matter what the day throws at you, you will handle it with greater clarity and control. Think about the difference between starting your morning with reflection and starting it with news. Reflection may remind you of your goals, your values, and your gratitude for life. The news, on the other hand, will likely feed you fear, negativity, and things you cannot control. Which do you think will serve you better? Or consider the difference between beginning your day with motivational learning versus beginning it with random scrolling. Motivation will spark your drive. Scrolling will leave you empty. These are choices you make every morning, whether consciously or unconsciously, and they decide the emotional and mental state you carry throughout your day. Feeding your mind first also creates direction. Without it, you drift. You may find yourself being pulled into other people's priorities other people's opinions and other people's agendas. But when you begin your morning by consciously planting the right seeds through prayer, meditation, reading, journaling, or affirmations, you create focus. You know what matters most? You set your own tone instead of letting the world set it for you. You are no longer reactive but proactive. This shift is what separates those who lead their lives from those who are led by circumstances. There is also a spiritual element to this idea. When you wake up and direct your first thoughts toward higher purpose, toward gratitude to your Creator, toward trust, toward peace, you are aligning yourself with something greater than the noise of the world. This alignment gives you strength that distractions cannot steal. It reminds you that you are not defined by the rush of the world, but by the calm within yourself. That awareness itself is a form of feeding your mind and soul with nourishment the world cannot provide. Feeding your mind before the world does is not complicated, but it requires discipline. You must resist the temptation to instantly check your phone or be dragged into urgency. You must guard your mornings as sacred time. Even 20 minutes of intentional practice, like reading something uplifting, writing down goals, reflecting on what you're thankful for, or simply sitting in silence, can transform the quality of your entire day. Over time, these practices rewire your brain. They create patterns of focus and clarity that become natural. Your mind begins to crave this nourishment instead of distraction, and you notice that your days feel more purposeful, productive, and peaceful. What's important to understand is that your mornings are not just about how early you wake up, but about what you do with the time once you are awake. You could wake up at 5 a.m. and still waste the time with meaningless inputs, or you could wake up later but dedicate your first minutes to feeding your mind with strength. The difference lies in intention. The act of consciously choosing what you allow into your mental space first is the true foundation of a successful morning routine. Overthinking, stress, and distraction are all amplified when you allow the world to flood into your mind before you have grounded yourself. But when you feed your mind with positivity, knowledge, and clarity first thing in the morning, you reduce the grip of those patterns, and you begin the day centered. And you carry that centeredness with you into every meeting, every decision, and every challenge. This is why some people always seem calm and steady even in chaos. It's because they fed their minds with strength before the world fed them with noise. So ask yourself, what are you allowing to enter your mind at the start of each day? Are you beginning with distractions that scatter you, or with wisdom that grounds you? Are you starting with noise or with peace? The choice may seem small, but its impact is profound. Because in the end, your mornings don't just decide your day, they decide your life. And the way you feed your mind first thing in the morning is one of the most powerful tools you have to shape who you become. Most people live their lives believing that time management is the ultimate key to productivity and success. They think that if they can just plan their hours better, make the perfect schedule, or organize their day into neat blocks, everything will fall into place. But time is equal for all of us. Everyone gets 24 hours. The real difference between those who thrive and those who struggle is not how they manage their time, but how they manage their energy. You could have the best schedule in the world, but if you wake up tired, distracted, and mentally drained, your hours will slip away unproductively. On the other hand, if you wake up with energy, focus, and clarity, you can accomplish more in 1 hour than most people do in an entire day. This is why energy management is the true secret to transforming your mornings and ultimately your life. Energy is not just physical, it is mental, emotional, and spiritual. Physical energy determines whether you feel strong and capable of taking action. Mental energy influences your clarity, focus, and decision making. Emotional energy dictates whether you approach tasks with enthusiasm or dread. Spiritual energy connects you to a higher purpose, reminding you why your work matters in the first place. When any of these sources of energy are depleted, your performance drops, no matter how much time you try to allocate. This is why mornings are so important. They allow you to reset and recharge these sources of energy before the world demands them from you. Consider how most people begin their mornings. They drag themselves out of bed, hit snooze multiple times, skip breakfast, and rush straight into work or obligations. By the time they truly start their day, their energy is already low, and they spend the rest of the day trying to catch up. Compare this to someone who wakes up with intention, takes care of their body through stretching or exercise, feeds their mind with positive input, hydrates, and spends a few quiet minutes setting intentions for the day. The difference in energy between the two is staggering. One is surviving the day. The other is leading it. Energy management also means understanding that your willpower is limited. The longer the day goes on, the weaker your discipline becomes. This is why the morning is the most powerful time to tackle what matters most. When your energy is highest, you must focus on the tasks that will move your life forward. Leaving your most important goals for later in the day is like trying to fight a battle after you've already exhausted your army. The morning gives you a fresh army of energy, physical, mental, and emotional, and how you deploy it determines your victories. Part of managing energy is also about eliminating unnecessary leaks. Just like a bucket cannot hold water if it has holes, your body and mind cannot maintain energy if you constantly drain them with bad habits. Scrolling endlessly through social media, consuming junk food, dwelling on negativity, and procrastinating are all leaks. They may seem small in the moment, but collectively they drain you of the energy you need to pursue your goals. The morning is your chance to seal those leaks by creating routines that empower instead of weaken you. Drinking water, exercising, practicing gratitude, and engaging in mindful practices all add energy rather than take it away. Another key to energy management is recovery. Most people think they are tired because they work too much, but often they are tired because they never truly rested. True rest is not just sleep, it is also mental detachment from constant stimulation. If you wake up and immediately consume noise from the world, your brain never gets the chance to rest. By beginning your mornings with quiet reflection and purposeful activity, you allow your energy reserves to refill. This is why even just 10 minutes of meditation or silence in the morning can feel more refreshing than hours of passive distraction at night. When you learn to manage energy, you stop seeing life as a struggle against time. Instead of saying, I don't have enough hours in the day, you realize that what you really lack is not time but energy. The truth is you don't need more time, you need more vitality in the hours you already have. Think of two people who both have the same 8 hours to work. One spends the time sluggish, distracted, and drained, while the other attacks each hour with full focus and drive. The second person will always outperform the first, even though they both had the same amount of time. This is why successful people guard their energy as their most precious resource. Energy management also has a compounding effect. If you start your morning in an energized state, your productivity early in the day gives you momentum. That momentum builds confidence, and confidence fuels even more energy. By the time others are just waking up mentally, you already have small victories behind you, and those victories push you forward. On the other hand, if you begin your day drained and scattered, your low energy produces low results, which then drains you further. Energy works in cycles, and the morning is the key moment that determines which cycle you set in motion: an upward spiral of energy or a downward spiral of exhaustion. Ultimately, the reason your morning decides your life is because it decides your energy. If you wake up and treat your energy as sacred, fueling it with discipline, positivity, and purpose, your entire life begins to change. You move through the day with clarity instead of confusion, strength instead of weakness, and focus instead of distraction. And when you repeat this day after day, the results compound. Your mornings stop being a time of wasted potential and become a foundation for greatness. So the question you must ask yourself is not just, how do I manage my time? But how do I manage my energy? Time will pass no matter what you do, but energy is the force that determines how you use that time. Protect it, fuel it, and channel it wisely each morning. And you will see that your life transforms, not because you gain more hours, but because you gain the power to use your hours with strength, focus, and purpose. Consistency creates identity, and identity shapes destiny. When you wake up each morning and repeat certain actions, no matter how small they may seem, you are not just building habits, you are building the person you believe yourself to be. This is the deeper truth most people overlook. They think of mornings as routines or checklists: wake up, brush teeth, eat, go to work. But the real power of a consistent morning practice lies in the identity it forges within you. Every single repetition is like a brick, and over time, those bricks build the foundation of who you are. If you consistently choose to wake up late, skip priorities, and waste time, you are reinforcing the identity of someone who avoids responsibility. If you consistently rise early, take action, and invest in yourself, you are reinforcing the identity of someone disciplined, driven, and focused. And eventually, your actions become so aligned with that identity that they no longer feel like effort. They become who you are. The problem with most people is that they chase results without first shaping identity. They want success, but their habits tell a different story. They want health, but their choices reveal inconsistency. They want clarity, but their mornings are chaotic. They do not realize that results are a reflection of identity, and identity is a reflection of consistency. If you want to change your life, you don't begin by chasing big goals. You begin by proving to yourself, over and over again, that you can keep promises to yourself. Consistency is how you rewrite the story of who you are. Think about someone who wakes up every morning and spends just 10 minutes reading something uplifting or learning something new. At first, it may not seem like much. 10 minutes is short and the progress feels invisible. But as the days accumulate, not only is their knowledge growing, but their identity is transforming. They begin to see themselves as a learner, as someone who values growth, as someone who invests in wisdom instead of wasting time. That identity then drives bigger decisions. They start seeking mentors, taking courses, or applying what they've learned in their work. What began as a small, consistent morning practice eventually reshapes their future, not because the act itself was revolutionary, but because the identity it created was. Consistency is also powerful because it removes the need for constant decision making. When something becomes part of your identity, you no longer debate whether or not you should do it. It simply becomes what you do. For example, if you see yourself as someone who exercises every morning, you don't wake up asking, "Should I work out today?" The answer is already yes, because it's part of who you are. This mental shift is priceless. The battle against inconsistency is exhausting because you're always negotiating with yourself. But once your identity is shaped through repetition, discipline feels natural. You no longer fight yourself, you align with yourself. Another important truth is that consistency does not need to be extreme. It just needs to be unwavering. Too many people fail because they try to do too much too fast. They commit to waking up at 4 a.m., running 5 miles, meditating for an hour, and writing a book all at once. They burn out in a week and abandon everything. But consistency thrives in simplicity. A small routine done every day without fail is more powerful than an intense routine done inconsistently. Your identity doesn't care about how big the action is. It cares about whether the action is repeated. A single push-up done daily will do more for your identity as a disciplined person than 100 push-ups done once and then forgotten. Over time, these small but consistent choices compound into massive transformation. The morning is the perfect time to anchor consistency because it is the one part of the day you can truly control. Once the day begins, unexpected demands and distractions pull at you. But in the morning, before the world wakes up, you have a sacred window of time that belongs only to you. If you fill that window with consistent actions that align with your values and goals, you begin every day with victory. And starting with victory is a powerful message to your subconscious. It tells you, "I am someone who wins." That belief seeps into everything you do, shaping the way you approach challenges, decisions, and opportunities. The danger of inconsistency, on the other hand, is that it chips away at your confidence. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your identity. You stop believing your own words. You begin to feel like someone who cannot be trusted, even by yourself. This is why inconsistency is so damaging. It doesn't just affect your actions, it corrodes your self-image. But consistency heals that damage. Every time you follow through, no matter how small the action, you rebuild trust with yourself. You begin to respect yourself again. That self-respect fuels confidence, and confidence fuels growth. Ultimately, the reason consistency creates identity is because identity is nothing more than the story you tell yourself about who you are. And stories are not built in one day. They are written in small, repeated actions over time. If you want to change your story, you must first change your mornings. You must decide that every day, without exception, you will show up for yourself in some meaningful way. It doesn't need to be flashy or visible to others. It only needs to be consistent. Because over 90 days, 6 months, a year, the story begins to shift. One day you will wake up and realize you no longer need to force yourself to be disciplined, productive, or focused. You simply are. Consistency is not glamorous, but it is the foundation of greatness. It transforms effort into ease, habits into identity, and identity into destiny. Each morning gives you a blank page, and consistency is the pen you use to write who you are becoming. The question is not, can I do this for one day? The question is, am I willing to repeat it every day until it becomes me? If the answer is yes, your mornings will not just decide your days, they will decide your life. The way you begin your morning is not just about discipline or productivity. It is also about the state of your heart and the direction of your mind. Gratitude and intention are two forces that seem simple on the surface but carry the power to transform not just your morning, but your entire life. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what is missing to what is present, from lack to abundance. Intention shifts your focus from drifting to directing, from reacting to leading. When combined, gratitude and intention give you both the energy and the compass you need to navigate your day with strength and clarity. Most people start their mornings in a rush. They wake up thinking about everything they need to do, all the problems waiting for them, and all the pressures they have to face. They begin the day already heavy, already anxious, already consumed by what is wrong. But gratitude changes that. When you wake up and the first thought you allow yourself is, I am thankful, the entire weight shifts. Gratitude doesn't mean you ignore your challenges. It means you choose to see what is good despite them. It's easy to forget how much we already have, how much we take for granted. The bed you woke up in, the breath in your lungs, the opportunities waiting for you, the chance to live another day. Starting with gratitude anchors you in positivity, and positivity multiplies energy. A grateful person approaches the day with strength, an ungrateful person drains before they even begin. But gratitude alone is not enough, it must be paired with intention. Gratitude gives you peace, but intention gives you direction. Without intention, you may feel positive but still waste your time. Intention answers the question, what do I want this day to mean? It is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. Every morning when you set an intention, you give yourself a clear path. You are no longer pulled aimlessly by distractions or other people's demands. Instead, you are guided by your own chosen purpose. Intention is what transforms a day from random events into meaningful steps forward. When you combine gratitude and intention, you create a powerful foundation. Gratitude tells you, I already have enough to begin, and intention tells you, this is where I am heading. Together, they silence the noise of doubt, fear, and comparison. Many people waste their mornings comparing themselves to others or worrying about what might go wrong. Gratitude silences comparison because it reminds you of your blessings. Intention silences worry because it reminds you of your focus. With both, you step into the day steady and strong. Think about how different your day feels when you start with gratitude and intention compared to when you start with stress and distraction. If you wake up, grab your phone, and scroll through endless updates, your mind fills with noise. You see other people's lives, other people's problems, other people's opinions. You begin the day already pulled away from yourself. But if you wake up, take a deep breath, whisper thanks for the gift of life, and set a clear intention for what you want to achieve, your day belongs to you. It is no longer shaped by the outside world, it is shaped by your inner world. Gratitude also strengthens resilience. No matter how carefully you plan, your day will bring challenges. But if you begin the morning in a state of gratitude, you will not be easily shaken. You will see obstacles not as enemies, but as opportunities. You will notice the good hidden in the bad. Gratitude rewires your brain to look for lessons instead of losses, solutions instead of setbacks. It is a powerful shield against negativity. Likewise, intention strengthens persistence. When challenges appear, you do not wander off course because you know exactly what matters. Intention acts like a compass, guiding you back to your path even when storms hit. It is also important to understand that gratitude and intention are practices, not emotions. Some mornings you will not feel grateful. Some mornings you will not feel motivated to set intentions. But the act of choosing gratitude and choosing intention despite your feelings is where transformation lies. Gratitude is not about waiting until everything is perfect. It is about choosing to recognize what is already good. Intention is not about waiting for clarity to magically appear. It is about choosing clarity by deciding your focus. These practices shape your mindset day by day, and eventually they become part of your identity. One of the most powerful ways to anchor gratitude and intention is through writing or speaking them out loud. Taking even 2 minutes to write down 3 things you are grateful for and 1 clear intention for the day can completely shift your mental state. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to focus on positivity and purpose automatically. It becomes second nature to see blessings instead of burdens and to live with direction instead of drifting. Imagine 2 people waking up tomorrow. The first wakes up late, rushes out of bed, and instantly complains, "I'm tired, I have too much to do. Nothing is going right." Their day will reflect that mindset. It will be filled with stress, chaos, and frustration. The second wakes up, takes a breath, whispers, "Thank you for this day," and decides, "Today I will focus on progress, not perfection." Their day will reflect that mindset. It will be filled with calm energy and determination. The circumstances may be the same, but the mindset creates an entirely different outcome. In the end, your mornings will decide your life not just because of what you do, but because of how you choose to see and direct each day. Gratitude shapes your attitude, and intention shapes your direction. Together, they form the strongest foundation you can build. If you begin each morning by recognizing your blessings and deciding your focus, you will live with a heart that is full and a life that is guided. And when you repeat this day after day, the person you become will not just be someone who manages mornings. You will become someone who lives with joy, clarity, and purpose.